This is a tutorial for Unit 10, Lesson 2. In this lesson, we'll be plotting ordered pairs, but we're going to focus on the scale of the coordinate plane, which I will show you what that means. So here we're looking at our coordinate plane, and we have our origin here, we have our x-axis here, and our y-axis, but we're not going to number them yet because we may be changing the scale. So the scale is what we count by. So for example, normally or often we count by ones on the x-axis and the y-axis. That would be our scale. But if we needed to, we could count by twos. Whatever you start counting by, you have to continue for that whole axis. So if I'm counting by twos, 2, 4, 6, I couldn't all of a sudden put a 7. That would have to be an 8, and I would have to continue the same scale all the way through. Now you could have a different scale on your x-axis and on your y-axis. It depends on what your numbers are, what your coordinates are. So I could have 5, 10, 15, and I would have to count by 5s the whole way up. What tells you what your scale should be are your ordered pairs. So for example, if you had, let me get rid of these really quick. If you had 5, 2, that's going to be over 5 up 2. You can easily count by ones because you can fit it all on this coordinate plane. You always want to find the smallest scale that you can use. So you don't want to count by 5s if it's 5, 2. You would want to count by ones. But let's say you had something like 50, let's see, 50, 200. Well, I don't have 50 lines over or 200 up, so I'd have to decide what my scale is going to be. So if my x-axis is going to be 50, let's see how many I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I could count by 5s. Let's see if that would work. 5, 10, 15, 20. I just have to make sure I have room to get to 50 and that 50 is not way over here stuck at the end. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And you don't want to stop right at that. You want to keep going. 55, 60, 65. We'll stop at 65 because we're at the end of our. So that would work for plotting 50. Now 200, I can't count by 5s. So I could count by, could I count by 10s? I'd have to have 20 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Nope, probably not. So I'm going to count by 25s. You generally don't count by weird numbers, or not weird numbers, but different numbers like 7. You'd usually count by 2s or 4s, 5s, 10s, 25s, 50s, 100s. Once in a while you'll see one that counts by something else. But those are generally the ones that you count by. So we'll do by 25. So we'll go 25, 50, 75, 100, 100, what am I doing here? 125, 150, so it has to be consistent. And then we don't stop right at 200 because it would look weird if our graph just stopped there. So we would keep going until we got to the top. 225, 250, 275. We'll stop at 300. And now we can plot 50, 200. So we're going to go over 50 and up to 200 and plot our point. So this and this, these are the scales, and our coordinate pairs, if we have really large numbers, we're going to have to not count by ones. We're going to have to think about what scale we're going to use. So now let's look at this one, 32, 800. So this is always 0. Now for 32, we could count by 2s. That would work. We could count by 4s. That would work also. If we did 2s, would we have enough room? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We may not have enough room for that one. Let's label our axes here, X and Y. So on this one, we're going to count by 4s because we want this number to be included. So if we counted by 5s, 32 wouldn't be included in that because it's not a multiple. So we're going to go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. Now 32 is the number we need, but you want to keep going. 36, we'll stop at 40, okay? And then for 800, we obviously cannot count by fours. We could do counting by 50s. Would that work? We'd need to have 16 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's do by 100s. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. Don't stop at 800. You want to keep going. 900, 1,000. We'll stop at 1,000. So now we're ready to plot this. 32, 800. So we come over to 32 and we go up to 800 and we plot our point. So we had to change our scale from counting by ones to counting by fours on our x-axis and 100 on our y-axis. So here we have where you have to identify the coordinate pairs. So look at the x-axis. What do you notice it's counting by? The scale is 10. It's counting by tens. And then on the y-axis, what is the scale? The scale is 0 to 500, counting by 50s. So now we want to identify this coordinate point. So we're going to get our ordered pairs ready. We go over 30 and up 250. So our ordered pair is 30, 250. Okay, so this is the structured guided practice. So if you have your worksheets, I would like you to try doing this on there, and then if you need help, unpause it. So I'll get you started. We're not going to count by ones, so I want you to think, what can we count by? What is the smallest? So we always put our 0, and we can count by 2s. So we're going to go 2 on our x-axis. Remember, this is our x coordinate. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Keep going. 20. So you should be putting these in as well. 22, 24, 26, 28. We'll stop at 30. Okay? And then for 35, we want 35 to show up. So we can't count by 2s. So let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Keep going. We'll go up to 50, 40, 45, 50. Okay. So we see our number 18 here, and we see our number 35 here. So now let's plot that point. We go over 18, and we go up to 35, and there is plotting our coordinate point for the ordered pairs 18, 35. So on this one, you are going to write the ordered pair that's represented. So go ahead and pause it, write the ordered pair, then unpause it and check your work. Okay, so we went over on our x-axis to 70, and then we went up to 400. So it's 70, 400 for our answer. Okay, I want you to do final check for understanding number 1 and 2. For number 1, you're going to be figuring out what the scale is by looking at these two numbers and writing in that scale and plotting that point. And then for number 2, you're going to be writing the ordered pair that's represented by the red dot. So go ahead and pause it and do both of those, and then unpause it and check your work. Okay, hopefully you've done them by now. So I'm going to put my 0 here. I'm going to look at 125. I'm going to count by 25s because I want this number to appear, but if I count by anything less, I'm going to run out of room. So I'm going to start with 25, 50, 75, 100. I've got to squeeze them in here. 125, we're going to go up to 200. 150, 175, 200, and then I'm going to count by 100s. I'm going to go up to 1,000. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. And now I'm going to plot my points. So here's my 125, here's my 600. So I'm going to go over 125, over and up, and plot my point. Now, if you got that wrong, go back and think about what you need to do different. On this one, I'm just going to write the ordered pair. So I start at my 0. Did I go over any? Nope. I went over 0. Get my X and Y's in here. And I went up 32. 0, 32. And so now you're going to go on and complete the student practice problems 1 through, let's see here. Do you have 1 through 6? Oh, you do not have student practice problems on these. So you're done. And that is a quick tutorial on scaled coordinate planes.